Welcome to what to do with those pesky Unicode characters in Business Central. Hey, I'm Eric, and the inspiration for today's video, and today is a hot one, by the way. Here in British Columbia, we're in a heat wave, and today was close to 40, and tomorrow it's gonna be 40, and that's 104 for you US guys. And old house, no AC, and I'm sweating, so bear with me. Anyway, we're going to talk about Unicode characters today, and we're going to talk about Unicode characters specifically in, and there's a fly flying around here. Anyway, specifically Unicode characters in code fields. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here are my customers, and the inspiration for this video came actually from an incident we had with one of our customers that got a fancy quotation mark inside an item number, and everything broke because nothing was expecting that a Unicode character like that was in an item number. But if you take a look at my my item numbers here, customer numbers actually, you can see that, well, Santa Claus is Santa Claus, and that means that, let's see if we can open, come on BZ, you can open this, see that the customer number is the emoji for Santa Claus. The same as the dino cat here, that's emoji for a dino cat. And I think that if we were to do a filter and say, okay, show me on the customer number, and I'll just hit the emoji keyboard here and say, okay, I want to see Santa Claus. Go away, emoji keyboard. Well, I can filter on Santa Claus. So it's a totally valid character, but it might pose some interesting problems. The first one here, you can see that clearly that's a quotation, double quote, but it doesn't look like the normal one. It's kind of tilted. So that's actually what we had in the support incident, that somehow a user used one of those instead of the normal one, and that broke some stuff. But you know, it gets worse because there's also, you can see the backwards Eric here, that's some cheating, but you know, there are some weird there's some weird Unicode characters that you can do stuff with like that. But take a look at the Karen situation here. So I have two customers now. They both have the customer number Karen, but you cannot have two records with the same primary key anywhere in Business Central. So what's the magic here? So let's see what happens if I filter for Karen. We find nothing. Okay, let's create a new one then. See what happens here if I say, okay, let's create a new customer called, you guessed it, Karen. Come on, BZ, you can do this. So let's do customer number Karen. Yes, I would like to rename. And come on, BZ. It's so hot that my PC is throttling the CPU all the time here. It's kind of annoying, but I think we can get by this. Oh, maybe I broke it. Maybe I broke it. No, there we go. Karen the third. Okay. So now I have, let's see, let's remove the filter here. So now I have 3 customers with the same customer number. They are all called Karen. So what is this magic? Well, it's not magic, it's Unicode, and everybody guessed at this point that even though it looks like those are the same letters, they're not the same letters. So those are three different types of a K. So let's do something. And what I want to do here is, and that's the crazy fly going at it again. I started a empty extension. So let's inspect those customer numbers. So we can do that simply by creating a page extension. Customer list extends the customer list. There we go. And we want to add an action, so we go to actions. We'll do a add first because that's how we roll in processing, perhaps. And the action we want to add is inspect number application. Oh, well, come on. Action equal. Okay, it's so hot here. Inspect, and let's see if we can do caption equal. That'd been cool. Then we can do application area all. Wow. And trigger on action. So let's think about how we wanna do this. So let's inspect. So you know that when we have a string, so even though it's a field of type code, in reality it's the same as a string. Code used to be different back in the days, but now it's kind of just a auto uppercase string. It used to have special sorting properties, but not anymore. So let's do something like this. We'll create an integer here, just to use for numbering, and then char number, also an integer, and a string that we can show the result in. So let's try to do something like for I equal 1, 2. And this is interesting. So we do string length. So if we look at Santa Claus, for instance, or the Dino Cat, that's actually even better. So the idea with Unicode is that Unicode is 16 bits. So that would define that there are 65,000 characters possible, but Unicode has a way of encoding characters so they actually take up more than one word. Word is the 16-bit. So in case of Santa Claus and Dino Cats, they have the first character is kind of saying, okay, this is an emoji, and the trailing characters are describing the emoji. So you have a almost infinite address space of creating emojis. Anyway, let's take a look at it. So when we do string length here, we're looking at the 16-bit words that makes up a string. So I'll do rec number, do begin, and then let's grab the actual character. I'll just do, what do we call it? We call it char number is equal, and then we'll do rec dot number, and when we address that as an array, then it becomes an array of chars, so 16-bit chars. But when we assign a 16-bit char to an integer, we could just get the value, the Unicode value. So now we can take our string and then say, okay, format this guy to a string plus something. Let's do something like this. It doesn't really matter. And then when we're done with building this guy, then we will do message the string. How about that? Let's see if we can compile this. I think that the video is choppy. I hope this is good. Well, I'll check it afterwards. But my PC is throttling in the heat. This is insane. So we're deploying our little thing to the, in this case, I'm running on a Docker instance. So I have BC version 18 running in Docker on my machine. And I got Visual Studio Code running on my machine, and I got all the video encoding stuff running on my machine. So usually it takes a lot of power, but it usually works. But it looks like it's hurting in the heat. Let's see if we can get this deployed without too much delay. Come on, BC, you can do it. So there we go. I was just about to go into a long talk about 16-bit and 8-bit stuff. Anyway, let's see if this guy will deploy. Well, it is deployed, but let's see if it starts the browser also. Come on, BC. So what I was going to talk about was the fact that we have all these different types of bits in the computer, and now, at least with Windows 11, all Windows computer will be only 64-bit. So when you're in a 64-bit machine, then you can fairly efficient work with any smaller type of bit sets. Whereas if you were in a 8-bit machine and you wanted to work in 32-bit, then it becomes really complicated because you gotta stack addresses, you gotta stack data and stuff like that on the bus, and that's complicated. Okay, so let's try our inspection function. I think it went over here somewhere, action, inspect number. So now we're doing inspecting Santa Claus. And we got, you can see Santa Claus is encoded in two 16-bit words, 55356 and 57221. That's Santa Claus. It's not his zip code, but it's Santa Claus anyway. So let's check out the DynoCat here. We'll do the exact same thing. And we can see, whoops, that's a way more complicated encoding. So that one takes up 5 words in order for to describe this emoji. Let's try again with the laughing guy, because I think that's a pretty old emoji. So that's 2 words again. Okay, so enough with the emojis. Let's take a look at Karen, and let's take a look at the one that's just, no, let's take a look at Karen the third. And wow, saw that? It disappeared. Okay, that's actually, let's try something else. That was weird. Hey, I think we might have broken BC just by creating Karen. Let's see if I can do a next here. Force this in, or if I really broke BC just by creating a totally normal record called Karen. Oh, you know what happened? We got a breakpoint somewhere, and it's actually in the SharePoint. That SharePoint is not happy. We don't care about that. I got the SharePoint connector installed, but it's not authenticated. Anyway, okay, so here's Karen. So we can get to the record here, but we cannot get to it here. Okay, that's weird. So let's try this one first. So all the normal characters in the US, in the UK character set are below 255. So in the old days, when we have 8-bit per character, we have the ASCII table, and every ASCII character was within 0 and 255. And here we can see that A is 65. That's the letter A, and an R is 82, and an E is 69, and an N is 78. But we can see that this K is 8490. If we grab this one, and let's see what this is. So this is 922. And if we were able to actually put the cursor on this one, which we aren't, this is so strange. So I had no intent that this, I had no idea that this would, how weird is that? That this will be an issue. Anyway, so what we have in Unicode, and I know this is a long story, I'm sorry about that. What we have in Unicode is like there's the letter K for potassium. So the from the periodic table, the element potassium, the letter in the periodic table is a K. So if you select that K, it kind of looks like a normal K, but it's a different K. And then the other K we have here is yet a third K that's in somewhere else that has a K. So it's really easy to create something that looks like it's gonna work, but clearly what we will see that what we managed to do with the other ones. I want to see what happens if I delete the backwards Eric, because that's yeah, I want to delete Eric. Let's see if we have 3 Karens in a row. Can I select this one now? So I select it, and now we have 4 Karens. I select it again. Now we have 5 Karens. So I think I broke Business Central. Oops. That is interesting. Anyway, so how can we avoid breaking Business Central? This video took a whole different turn that I was planning. So let's actually, I'll just do this in one text file just to annoy everybody. So let's create a table extension to the customer extends customer. And we're interested in fields, and we're interested in modifying the number field. And what we're interested in is to add a on before validate. And we could do something like this. So let's mimic the loop we have down here. So char number integer. And then we'll do for I equal 1 to string length of rec.number, do begin. We'll do char number equal rec number I. In other language, we there's way to cast to this, so we could cast to something like that until this should be an integer, but not in Pascal, and not in AL. So we have to do it like this. So now we could say that if char number is larger than 255, then we're not allowed. This could be one solution. So say that only A to Z 1 to 9 allowed, for instance. That's good. This is not really what we're testing for, but let's try this out. Just see what happens here. So we'll deploy again, see how fast it's gonna deploy this time. Oh, way faster. Maybe my PC is getting colder. Okay, we're deploying. So come on, custom list, where they are. And I'll create a new customer. And instead of this number, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a heart. This is a lovely customer. So go away, that one. Let's see, we got a breakpoint here. Oh, that's just the stupid. Oh, we also got our error here actually. So validation result only A to Z 0 to 9 is allowed, which is kind of the right message path, but that's certainly not what we're testing for, because right now we could do this, and that would be a valid record. That's not the explicit version here. So how can we improve this? So another way we could do this was to say that if char number, and then AL has this funky little function that is rarely used by some, others use it all the time. That's called in. So in this case, we can actually then forget about this guy, and we can go straight to say that if rec no I, so this is the char in, and then we do a quote, and then we can add a list of things that it has to match this. And did I do a video on this? I think I did a video on. So the fact that when we do something like this, this will get parsed as a char in Business Central. In nav, this would pass as a string. But so we can actually do something like this and do from A to Z, comma, and from lowercase a to lowercase z, comma, and from 0 to 9. So now we actually created a, did I write in then? And then we have to say if not, so if not the character is in this list, then throw an error. So let's try this out. We are deployed. Let's see how fast the browser comes up. Oh, fast. I should have waited till midnight, then it will only be 35 degrees. There's a heat bubble or something like that. Heat dome, I think it was called, so it doesn't get cold at night. Let's try this again. And this time we're gonna go with 10 space 20. And we got a SharePoint breakpoint, but we also got this guy. Let's kill the debugger. So now this worked, but if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, then I'm allowed. So that's one way of ensuring that you only get specific characters in a field. And you might say that, why does it matter with these Unicode characters in fields like this? And in some cases it doesn't. It works great. Well, apart from the Karen example that kind of broke everything, and I'm almost sorry that I chose that, because I'm not trying to bash any Karens whatsoever. On the contrary, but it was one of those that I knew there were other letters that worked. Well, it didn't work apparently, so it broke Business Central. But we're living in a connected world now, and what happens when we need to get this customer number into CRM? What happens when we need to use it on the web service? What happens when we need to set a filter on OData on this? This gets complicated, and to preserve that your data model is sane, to preserve that it's actually working, I tend to stay away from those characters. I even tend to stay away from any character that is usually used as a filter syntax, because putting a star in a customer number works, but how do you filter on that? That gets complicated. Anyway, that was the video on those pesky Unicode characters with a surprise breaking Business Central. So that's something. Anyway, I will now go and find something ice cold to drink, because it's still very, very hot here. So until next time, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.